this is a research done. Once they have enough physical competence, they soothe others in distress by touching and handing over a bottle or a toy. So we are born, we are a bundle of compassion. However, with our predominantly materialistic and fast-paced lifestyle, we systematically separate our children from their inner spirituality and reflection and pressurize them into filling every minute with actions that pack their minds with competitive spirit. They are constantly compared, judged, pressurized to perform to someone else's satisfaction. So we are building bad vasanas into them, ignoring their own yearning for satisfaction and fulfillment. So this helps you become a better parent, and also helps you help others to become a better parent. So when we have children's classes, we also should make sure to have parenting sessions. And we do that very regularly and religiously in our center. Yes, many of the parents don't show up for the parenting. We charge additional money and we say, you have paid for this parenting session, so you better come. Even then you see absences. There's only so much we can do, but then don't give up on those parenting sessions. And bring these concepts, please, into the parenting session. Spirituality and morality-based living is the only solution for every evil on this planet. Starting yoga when young gives children a much-needed foundation for life. This is the document which brings all these philosophical aspects into it. So make sure to pass this knowledge on to other parents. Like we like to talk about success. Every parent is worried about their child's success, right? And they push into all these various competitive arenas and expect their child to do well in everything. You may compare it like this. This pushy parent, right, who just takes the children everywhere, and the children seem to be responding to that very well, which is also the case, is like a success graph like this. The child is like super successful like this, and then what happens? And then they plummet because they develop stress-related problems at the age of, sometimes as young as 15, become suicidal. 13, 15, we have seen that, okay? If there is genetic predisposition. Even without genetic predisposition, we have seen high schoolers becoming suicidal. They have no genetic predisposition. It's simply the pressure that they cannot handle. And they have not given the tools to handle that pressure. They are just pressurized. Without giving them proper tools, how are they going to take that load? This is the success initially. Take that early years, right? The pushed, involved parent's child who is into all these sessions, and parent is absolutely focused on the child, and every minute is spent very effectively and efficiently focusing on their studies and grades and whatnot. The child is performing like that. And a parent like, say, a yogi parent who is not pushing it, on the other hand, giving them time, space, and to play, to have some of their own time, and maybe a story on Mahabharata every evening, or Ramayana, that kind of stories, and maybe Bhagavad Gita chanting here and there. So it's a relaxed child. Will not be like this. It will be like that. So if you at that point compare the child, you will see, wow, my son or my daughter is here. And look at that daughter, that son. They are up there, they go to this class, that class, geography B, first place in geography B. They are into all these great things. What is happening to me? My child is hard, doesn't even know anything at this point, just simply we are doing something wrong. This is the thought that people who are not pushing their children too much, or either they don't have bandwidth or they specifically do not like to push, we don't know yet. But let's say they followed Yoga Bharati model, and they learned from the parenting session, and they started giving their children more moral lessons as opposed to giving them geography lessons. Then the child will be somewhere down here, whereas the other child is performing up there. And this difference sometimes freaks them out too, by the way. But then what happens? So this child is plummeting at like 20, 25. whereas this one is steadily going up like that. So at some point there is that where continuously the child is growing towards success, whatever that success definition you like to give. Whereas this child, which began with a big bang, is now into many different problems, especially mental problems, because at the age of 22, 23, they have done it all, been there all, and they have achieved, they are at a very high trajectory, but they are not able to scale anymore because gas is out. And that's a huge problem. Why? If you weren't ambitious in the first place, you are okay. But now you have tasted that ultimate rajas, and now you are forced to come down to sattvic levels or non-rajasic states, whatever that state they are in. The mind is still in rajas, but their physical body is giving up. This is the problem. Okay, so you have to bring this to the parents. Explain this in parenting session. Earlier, the better. Otherwise, they'll come with their 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds. The child doesn't want to come, and they push into these yoga classes, and they bring them to yoga therapy, which is okay. Any time is better than no time. But you will have to work with the parent. By then, the expectations have skyrocketed. The child is absolutely rebelling. All these things we start seeing a total breakdown. Okay, so let's. This is the gravest problem of the 21st century. If you have to pinpoint at one problem, this is the gravest. Those young buds are crushed. By who? By those who care. This is the ultimate shame, I should say. Why? Not because any parent doesn't love their children, it's just because they have no idea what they are doing to their children. So please, you are the leaders here, community leaders I would like to call, because you are aware. You are the awareful citizens, woken up citizens. So wake them up to this fact. Okay? Now coming to the philosophy of Yoga Bharati classes or yoga classes for children. Now it doesn't have to be Yoga Bharati, any class should be. That is, we sit down in the first class where we ask parents also to come. First orientation, first couple of sessions are free sometimes. We say parents can also bring their children, and just all of you sit down. Parents sit at the back and children sit in the front, and we have a session. What do? We sit with the children. Parents are just watching. We say, okay, today we are doing yoga. And in yoga class, yoga is about learning nothing. We say, this is exactly what we use, learning nothing. So what do we do in the class today? Nothing. What are we learning? Nothing. I keep saying this and they keep repeating this. This is the first class. I teach them to say that. And then everybody's parents are laughing. And we say, this is not a joke. We really do nothing. Can you do nothing? Close your eyes. Let's do nothing. And don't think. Especially that elephant. Don't think about that elephant. And I say that 2-3 times. On purpose. And then one girl opened her eyes. I am trying not to think about elephant, and you keep saying the word elephant. How can I not think? You have to give me some time. It was so cute. And I said, look, this child actually can learn not to think better than all of us. Because she's so aware. I'm purposely reminding her of elephant because I want her to fight me. That's the potential of children.
I want to add something here. When
Yes.
my kids' class, when we do the meditation part, like we are doing meditation, like silence, stiram time. After stiram time, when you slowly open your eyes, I ask them, what you were thinking about it. Everybody said nothing. Every time I ask them, when you're closing your eyes and staying still, what you were thinking, follow him and tell me what you were thinking. He said nothing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn.
Yeah, they are totally capable of that. Much better than us. Because yoga is not about learning but unlearning. Right? Removing those vasanas and unlearning. And how much baggage do we have compared to them? Huge. So for us there is a ton of unlearning. For them there is hardly any huge unlearning because they haven't learned yet. Right? The bad stuff, that is. So they can unlearn faster. So if anything, yoga has to begin at that level. This and these kind of teachers, they can totally shape their lives. And that's what we have to all take up and do, because this is the biggest challenge of 21st century. Let's meet it. So please go through this one. And by the way, The Spiritual Child by Lisa Miller, one of the best books for you to read. She talks about how there is a spiritual gene, by the way, they are understanding that nowadays. There is a spiritual gene within us, and many are contemplative children, have been contemplating children, and there are such children, but within 10 years, all of that is killed. By who? Parents. The usual stereotypic comparison, judgment, teaching them how to behave in a stereotypic way, negative reinforcement as opposed to positive reinforcement, hardly teaching them to recognize their own goodness, hardly appreciating for what they have done, encouraging them. Oh wow, that was such a compassionate behavior. We never say. When children fall down, I told you not to behave like this. And the next time anybody falls in their school, the child doesn't look at that as a compassionate act, going and picking, oh yeah, she deserves it. Because my mom said I deserved it. Because I didn't behave. So maybe she didn't behave. So this we are propagating. We're propagating a lot of evil without our knowledge. By the way, there is nothing like evil. It's just ignorance, right? So anyway, okay, so please go through this one. This document has all these aspects. And we teach them these definitions of yoga also. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, all these things we teach. Okay? You can bring that in your class as well. 5 principles of healthy living, proper relaxation, giving them education. That sleep is important, exercise is important, breathing is important, diet is important, and positive thinking and meditation is important. 5 principles of healthy living. And then we also we can make levels if there are classes where different age groups come together. In Yoga Bharati Center, we don't have levels too much because we have different classes for youth and different classes for adults, but if for children. But if you have like a big age range, you want to make them as levels and then give them appropriate. You can make little circles and during that time teach them different stuff. We do this in our kids camp though. And Shailesh, when he teaches children's classes, he makes levels even within his class. And then you can, we have just simply defined these levels and we have said what exactly to do in each of these levels, just as guidelines. Again, there's nothing like one way to do, it's just simply a guideline. You can feel free to pick your own style. And then we have parent workshops. We have written about that, explaining religion and spirituality to the parents, because they should not come with an idea, oh, are you going to make my child religious? I'm not interested in this, that, shlokas, everything. You just explain to them what we do and why we do. And then talking about stress, naturally, for kids and parents alike. Bring that. Seeds sown for tomorrow. talk about how each of these, if your class has mantras and shlokas as one of the aspects, which in some classes we teach, then you educate them how these mantras have to be practiced and whatnot. Reports, recordings, and homeworks. It's always nice to give. Don't give them homework like the school homework. Okay, they have had enough of it. Every class, every whether it's a piano lesson or dance or anything, there's always homework. So they have tons of homework of every kind. So don't add to that chore, because this is a yoga session. It should not become yet another chore for them. But the kind of homework you'll be giving is what Gitanjali brought about, that is a practice ahimsa and yes.
Exactly. And some things I like tell them, okay, observe the way the moon is, setting, when the full moon, where the full moon rises, where the new moon is. So those, just bringing some connection with nature.
Perfect. This is beautiful. And also Savita does that sunning. So observing the sun with the eyes closed, sunning is one of the techniques for eyes, improving eyesight. Dark, walking in the dark, night walk, right? Where between the two rooms, don't turn on the lights, just walk and try to feel with your hands. So rods and cones in the eyes, they get exercised. All of these little things bring that to the parents as well as to children. That's why we like to write reports to the parents. When we, some of the Gitanjali's reports I have to send you all. Amazing reports. She writes beautiful reports. Looking at the whole thing, I go, wow, you write these things, can you write for Yoga Bharati? She says, I actually write, I think in Odia and then write. Wow. I should have kept that. I'll forward it to you. Amazing reports for the parents. So these, they help, they motivate, and the parents stay with the classes. And in some cases, Yoga Bharati's parents, there she is, Anushri's parents and all, they have just brought her from the time she started walking, I suppose, and until now. Look at that. That's a complete ashram kid, if you will, because that is the kind of Yoga Bharati parents we have. And one of them, she had some issues with the mind. We didn't know exactly what it was, ADHD initially, or maybe tantrums. How the parent figured out, and for good 12 years, every single year, as soon as anywhere Yoga Bharati classes start, she's the first to register. And now, now she's a high schooler and probably going to complete her high school soon. And she had issues, but she's much. Her mom comes and says, I think I would have lost my child into drugs and this and that if I had not brought her to yoga classes, because she had all these problems. Also on antidepressants and whatnot. So you have to know that there are parents who are taking yoga for their therapy, and encourage that, as opposed to going and swallowing more and more drugs, right, for their children. So these are the things. So encourage parents to attend the parenting sessions, educate them that this is not a quick pill, it's not a magic wand to just do something and then your children will learn some big amount of asanas and then perform like gymnastics and that is the class. Many people come asking us, oh, can you teach these asanas, and how many asanas did you learn today? Oh, say all that list, that child goes home and talks about all these various names, they'll feel, okay, my child is learning something. Otherwise, oh, what are you learning anyway? Nothing. They go and say nothing. This is exactly what they do. What did you learn today? Nothing. And parents will say, we even got some parents coming to us and saying, my child, every class says, what did you learn? Nothing. So what's the point? So then we had to sit down and say, yoga is like putting a pickle in the jar. You cannot just take every 2 minutes, take it out and see if the pickle is done or not, right? It comes out after some years of marinating. So this is what yoga is. So you have to come at least for a year for you to see the difference in the child, and that's when they understand its value. So we, through the whole school year, if I were to bring the child either any one of these places, right, whether it's yoga class or a Sunday school, Chinmay mission, various places, any which place, make sure the children go to one of these Sunday schools and or yoga classes, so that they are cultured enough. That is the recipe for success. So reports, recordings, homework, please do send that. And then asana safety, kids love advanced poses, so do include them. Please feel free to include them, but then also learn how to give that with safety in mind. So you want to help the child lift the legs, but in a way that the child is stable in the final pose and so forth. Games and then stories. All of that is written here, and shlokas, methodology and concepts, why chanting, teaching methodology and learning abilities, application of shlokas and the meanings in life, and some teaching tips to the new kids class teachers. Okay, and read all of this. Games and challenges. So roll your mats to the count of 10. Otherwise, not too soon, not too fast. If they start like bundling and throwing, then you have to say bring it back. My count is up to 10, and by 3 you are done. Go back. So skill of action. So you are time pressed, but you are not stressed out because of the time pressed situation. So all of that is written here. Right versus left. We also do Surya Namaskar 1 to 100. We count 1 to 100, and they should know to take the right leg or left leg. Odd number in tens place, they take left leg back, left leg front. Even number in tens place, they take right leg back, right leg front. We teach them 2-3 times, go back and then observe. In about 4-5 such classes, they will then become aware of what leg to take, which count, where am I with the count. And some kids, especially with ADHD and all, they can learn through these to be aware. It's a teaching them awareness. Relaxation and Shavasana game, magic carpet, we have it here. Sitting meditation and flying. This was one of the kids teachers, Madhuri was teaching them. So she meditate, then now, sit and then visualize you are flying in the universe, things like that. So the kids were doing that, and they were just amazing how they were so deeply caught into the visualization. And they come back and tell you what all they saw when they flew in the sky, all that. A very nice practice. Stimulation and relaxation, make them do some very vigorous exercises like the way she did, laughter sessions and everything, and then simply stand in Shitala Tadasana, no movement, and observe. So while they are easily excited, they also need to suddenly know how to calm down. Both these skills are very essential, because for the most part, the schools, everything just teaches them, stimulates them, but they never teach them how to relax. Okay? And all these laughter session, Gandhi Kabaddi, everything, all the rules are written, Nirtir is written. So take a look and read this, and bring those games into your class. Sorry for 10 extra minutes.
And one more thing I would say, whoever is teaching the children's class, please encourage them to how to save our planet, because we are working with that. The children, they don't know when they go to the bathroom, they pull so much tissue paper, throw it, and paper towels, and water, and paper cups. So wherever I'm teaching, wherever everyone is sending me, I'm going to Tulip, and in my school, and here in the center, we all are like trying to be so compassionate to our planet, our mother nature. Be kind to the plants, trees, animals, save water, save energy. If you are not in that room, turn off the water, turn off the light. So we are working on that. Please encourage.
Yeah, she asked them to bring water bottle. That's the other one. Okay, now coming to the last part, just as an announcement, and then we'll move to the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. This manual here, I've shared now the latest one with all the pictures of Indra's daughter. So we have everything. We'll be making the sets and you'll be teaching next semester. So please get familiar with the manual. And next semester we'll also be having the study group of each of these. We'll take one asana at a time, at least a few such asanas, and we'll have observe the subtle points, and we have written cheat sheets of these asanas. I'm going to put them all out there for you. The break, after the break, before break we'll do 1 or 2 such sessions and we'll then let you go. Then during the holidays, take one asana at a time. Read through the whole of the cheat sheet. It's just a discussion cheat sheet. It's not like this is the only way, that is the only way. Put comments. I'll be opening it for comments. Put your own comments. Let there be a long set of discussion. Oh, I don't think this is right, or I think it is okay. So go through that discussion and then we'll come back and discuss. So this entire manual has breath and body synchronizations. Then hasta vinyasas are included. Earlier we used to have only the breath body synchronization. We are now including the side arm raise. Usually they are all front arm raises which we saw. And when Eka taught us the vinyasa krama, side arm raise is something that was missing. So we added side hasta vinyasas to that. So that becomes our breath body synchronization. After that comes the loosening and dynamic practice, which is usually a very good set from Vyasa, and actually Bihar School of Yoga also has the similar set. So Chakki Chalana, Bhunamana, all those things. And then the third section has all the asanas, which are pretty standard set. But then the advanced asanas has a whole bunch of sets. So take a look at each of these. We'll practice some of these in the coming days, and also take one asana at a time, like simple Navasana, Setubandhasana, Tadasana, Vrikshasana and all, Virabhadrasana. Just we'll have long discussion based on the anatomy of it, with the muscles that are used are also given there. We have looked at all of that and getting familiar with those muscle groups. We haven't included a whole big set of muscles, just a few, so that you get familiar with those muscle names. All that is given in the cheat sheets. I'll put all of that into your folder and will open for comments, and that becomes your assignment, covering those. And your comments have to be there, at least if not anything you say. Let's say I'm agreeing with everything that is written here. We still need one comment saying, done reading this, fantastic, or sucky, or whatever it is. Just write that. That signature has to be there in comment form. Okay? All right.